I've worked closely with Rushanara for many, many years. She's been a tremendous spokesperson on behalf of the Labour Party, but most of all, on behalf of this community. She will make a great Member of Parliament if re-elected for Bethnal Green and Stepney. I commend her to you. She will help thousands of people in the years to come.
Countries like Bangladesh need a British government that will work with them to tackle the climate change crisis.
And that's what the next Labour government will do. A climate leader at home and working with countries like Bangladesh. But we need Rushanara Ali back in Parliament with her passion, with her advocacy and her ability to make change happen. So vote Labour on July the 4th.
Rushanara Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the 16th December, Bangladesh will mark its 40th anniversary as an independent nation following a war that cost 3 million lives. I want to pay tribute to the contribution made by this Parliament in supporting the people for their fight for liberty and self-determination. As the second most vulnerable country to climate change, with an estimated 15 to 20 million people likely to be affected in the coming decades, does the Prime Minister agree with me that it is now more important than ever before to support developing countries from the devastating effects of climate change?
Yes, I absolutely agree with the Honourable Lady, and I think the whole House should recognise what she's done in raising this issue at this time.
This area has been traditionally vulnerable, but the changes in climate and rising sea levels makes it even more challenging for people. For children, it's particularly challenging, and obviously big challenges for education and healthcare. There is so much more work that has to be done if these communities are to get stronger, to become independent, to become self-sufficient. They're not asking for a lot, they're asking for the basic requirements to survive and to be able to cope with what's happened because of this drought. They are in this position through no fault of their own, and I think that we in the international community need to make sure that our efforts are redoubled. Commitment to my Is the Prime Minister aware that some 7,000 council homes still need to be brought up to the decent home standards in Tower Hamlets? The last government committed 222 million towards addressing this problem. Will his government honour that commitment to my constituents?
Last government, because
some of the cases are heartbreaking. Residents carrying umbrellas indoors because of leaking ceilings, a heavy heater falling off a wall near small children playing on the floor, lifts breaking down on a weekly basis, 30 flats left without lights for weeks. No one should have to live like this, and that it would take a fire in a tower block for notice to be taken. Can I ask the Prime Minister to look at the Localism Act once again, which currently requires residents to give it 8 weeks before they can make a complaint to the Ombudsman for this to be taken up through their members of Parliament?
Well, I'm grateful to the Honourable Lady for raising an issue which hadn't been raised with me before.
What we've found over a number of years is that property developers have been allowed to build with a small element of social housing, but it doesn't keep up with the demand for affordable and social housing. And so,
I think, Chancellor, the fact is, this is really worrying. 7 out of 160 social housing blocks, not to mention the private blocks, the government is shirking responsibility.
No.
The question is, Chancellor, are you going to be able to live with yourself if this happens again? When these properties haven't had the work done, and government departments are not prepared to take the responsibility.
And will he today also make a commitment to look at the 1,700 high-rise and high-risk blocks with dangerous non-ACM cladding so that those residents can sleep at night in peace?
Does he agree with me that if the government doesn't invest in improving social housing, then there is a real risk that some of that housing could become unsafe and could create in relation to comments the leader of the Labour Party made in Hastings? He has clarified the record. Comment jeta khoroise eta clarify khoroise jene British government ekhon Conservative government Bangladesh government tarar ekta agreement ase jene safe country return policy. একটার উপরে এক্সাম্পল দেওয়া হয়েছে আমি মনে করি কোনো দেশেও সিঙ্গেল আউট করা ঠিক নাই এটা ভুল হয়েছে এটা আমি কইছি আমার লিডারশিপে এটা জানাইছি যে এরকম সিঙ্গেল আউট করলে মিসআন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং হয়ে যায় there is an attempt to try and spread fear and what I say to people is what we've had is a very right-wing very extreme government in recent years তারা ভ্যান ফাটাইছে টেরিজা মেয়ের গভর্নমেন্টও ভ্যান ফাটাইছে দিছে হোয়াইট চ্যাপেলও আমরা ক্যাম্পেইন করছি গো হোম কইয়ারি তখন আমি দেখছি না আমরা যারা এটা স্প্রেড একজনে মাত্রা তখন তো আমরা এটা দরকার আছিল তারা অনেক জিনিস করছে এই কত বছর আমরা মায়ের করা লাগছে সো we have to be aware that yes মিস্টেক বানানি যায় কথা কইতে সময় সব সময় সুন্দর করে কথা হয় না বা মিসআন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং হয় বাট I hope people can see our record যেও লিডার হইন তারা এটা অ্যাপ্রিসিয়েট করেন কেসটা আমার ফয়লা গেছেন ফার্স্ট ভিজিট বাংলাদেশও গিয়া গ্রাম ক্লাব ভিজিট করছেন কিন্তু এই যে কথা হয়েছে এক দেশের নাম ধরায় এটা মানে অন্যরকম গেছে কি সো আমি জানি আমরা কমিউনিটি খুব আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমরা মানুষ খুব বুঝরা তারা জানেন যে কোনো সময় একটা কথা কয় মিডিয়ার লগে অনেক জিনিস অন্য লাখান